Hey, this is Coach Chall, Doncaster born but built for theme parks, and welcome to this review. And this time, Coach Chall reviews The Swarm at Thorpe Park. Now, this is now the reason I'm doing this review is because Swarm is getting its new lift chain, which means I experienced the original lift chain, which means the original experience. Of course, the new lift chain makes some kind of enhancements, but doesn't change the ride experience much. But I feel like now is a good time since it's getting its new lift chain. So I'm going to talk through the queue line experience, the layout itself, and sort of what my favorite. Well, not the full layout, obviously, because some of you will see the full layout in POVs and stuff like that on other YouTube channels. But I'm going to sort of talk about my favourite parts of the layout, if you know what I mean. And then the overall feel of the experience and how I compare a wing coaster to other types of coasters I've experienced. So here we go then. So the Swarm. So starting off from the queue line experience. Now, the last time I did the Swarm was in 2017, so a couple of years ago now. Well, a couple of years in May, I think. No, August. Sorry, my mistake. August. Around end of August, start September, was the last time I did the Swarm back in 2017. So in a few months it'll be 2 years. So going from the queue line then, so you've got the big sign out front, the Swarm, and you're walking through this fenced queue line. Some of it's got the normal brown normal fencing. Some of it has got steel chain link fencing as well. There's TV screens around the queue line that sort of give off the impression that the Swarm is an apocalyptic creature and it's destroying the world. Next target's Thorpe Park. It's some kind of mental creature. Like, it makes you feel like you're about to be taken by the Swarm, who is someone who is hell-bent on destruction, and Thorpe Park is the next target to be destroyed and to be annihilated by the Swarm. So walking through the queue then, you sort of get that feel of, I'm on a crashed island. There's objects that are scattered all over the place, and different things like that. And then you walk towards the baggage hold. You put your bags on there. I managed to put my little bench man bag. I never really use that man bag anymore. I've got my own rucksack now, which hopefully will be not just what I take to. Well, I've got like a laptop kind of bag for uni, but I've got like a rucksack. Hopefully that'll be hopefully I should have a rucksack to be taken to theme parks and stuff like that for my trips, and other attractions and things like that, just to keep my camcorder safe and other bits of equipment that are highly exposed to breakage, as we call it. So you go to the baggage hold and you get your bags in, and then you can choose your side. You can cross over the stairway to the other side, which is the right hand side, or you can stay on the left hand. Actually, no, to be fair, it's hard to get your left and your right mixed up when you sort of know which way you're facing. It was the right hand side you could stay on, or you could cross over onto the left hand side. So I stayed on the right hand side for all my ride experience on the Swarm. Back in 2015 I did about 6 rides on it, and in 2017 I did 2 or 3. In fact, no, it was 2 rides exactly, and I got about 5 to 6 rides on the Swarm a couple of years before that, so I sort of know about the experience. So wing coasters are very, very weird. Now, if you're a member of the general public, you're not a coaster enthusiast, and you're just watching this and you're thinking, hang on, what's a wing coaster? Honestly, it's like flying on the wings of an aeroplane. Traditional roller coasters, you'll sit above the track. Inverted coasters like Nemesis, Alton Towers, you'll dangle below it in an inverted coaster kind of style, like you're below the track. This one, the actual train is on the track like a normal sit down, but the seats are outspread to the side, meaning that there's nothing above you and nothing below you, giving you a more exposed experience. So the first time that I did it in 2015, I'm going to sort of go along that kind of route, because the layout hasn't changed at all since 2015, but it's sort of the same either way. When I first did it in 2015, I'm never nervous when it comes to the big coasters, but I'm not going to lie, I felt a tiny smidgen bit intimidated, because it was a new coaster style, it was a new park at the time at 2015. I'd never done Swarm before. I've seen it. I followed the opening day in 2012. I followed the coverage of the opening day in 2012. I followed construction of LC12 all throughout when I was in year 7 and 8. coming to the opening. Well, I didn't go to the opening, but I sort of followed the opening when I was coming to the end of year 8 in March 2012. So I was quite young when this sort of construction, this whole swarm opening period started. So actually experiencing it 3 years after it opened was kind of intimidating in a way, because it's a new coaster type you've never done before, and it's a new part you've never done before. So I felt a little bit intimidated. So we got strapped in, the normal B&M cut like over the shoulder restraints with the rubbery foamy. Some of you that have experienced B&M coasters will agree with me, especially with wing coasters like the Swarm. Any of you have experienced the Swarm? You know when you put on the over the shoulder restraint, you've got that little rubbery foamy bit that's like a bit like a comfort collar for your shoulder blades. It kind of felt like that, and then of course you got your seat belt as well. So I was purely strapped in. Over the shoulder restraints I kind of like, but again I don't, because it's not exactly free compared to other restraints. So again, I wasn't that exposed. So it means you're highly restrained. So you had a little bit of freedom, but not too much, because B&M likes to keep you very restrained in these coasters. So you're going up the lift hill, and literally at the top, it's not a straight drop like most coasters. It's an inverted drop. And to be fair, Thorpe Park apparently on the opening day called it the world's first inverted drop, and and technically it is, because the only B&M wing coaster to have opened, before Swarm was Raptor, the prototype at Gardaland, and that just had a normal drop. And the only other wing coaster that you can think of, apart from the only B&M at the time, was Furious Baco Portaventura a few years before, and that was an Intamin launched one, so it didn't even have a lift hill. So it couldn't have done an inverted drop. So technically it was the world's first inverted drop, as well as the UK's first wing roller coaster. So you're sort of twisting into that drop, and immediately you think, oh, balls. I'm not swearing because it's a family channel. But yeah, I was literally thinking all kinds of things in my head, all kind of emotions. Was I going to cry? Was I going to scream? Was I going to be excited? Was I going to be like, oh my god, the wow factor has shined upon me like the messiah of roller coasters. So you're sort of twisting into this inverted drop. It comes down, and you're literally under and up through the wing of an aeroplane. The aeroplane theming looked amazing, very highly detailed, looked like it was covered in like mud and stuff like that, and it felt like it was destroyed. It felt like it was picked up and dropped from 60 feet. It was brilliant. So you go up under it, and this is one of my this goes into one of my favourite elements, the 0G roll, straight up and under the wing of an aeroplane. It was fantastic, that 0G roll. So much airtime. It made you feel, even though the restraints kept you very restrained, it made you feel free. It made you feel less restrained, even though it looked like you were very restrained, especially on a B&M coaster compared to coasters with lap bars, because I've experienced coasters with lap bars, coasters with over the shoulder restraints, all different kinds of restraints, and this one feels very loose compared to more restrained coasters where you'll feel more restrained, kind of like Colossus with the over-the-shoulder Intamin restraints. That's kind of why I think Colossus needs the Intamin lap bars instead, because maybe Colossus will give off a better ride experience. That, and it needs repainting, which many people have been calling for years. Another of my favourite elements on the Swarm, and to be fair, there's only two I can pick. There's only two main ones I can pick out, and that's the 0G roll straight up and over the wing of an aeroplane, and that helix around the fire truck. Now, when I experienced one of the runs where I experienced it, where I think some of the effects were on, there was a sprinkler, like a fountain kind of thing, in the lake, sort of next to the fire truck. So I got a little bit of a splash effect because I was on the right outer wing. I wasn't on the right inner seat, I was on the right wing seat. So if there was any theming, I was really close to hitting that theming with my legs, with my arms, with anything. And that's the good thing about a wing coaster. Not only is there nothing above or nothing below you, but also it gives you that sense of danger, because there's loads of near misses, death-defying effects, theming head choppers, especially that aeroplane into the 0G roll, under the wing of an aeroplane into the 0G roll. That was a head chopper element for me. A head chopper element, if you don't know what that is on coasters, basically it's where you come in near in close contact with something that you could have hit your head on. So that's a head chopper, literally, because it was the wing of an aeroplane. So again, that helix around the fire truck and the little spray, I got a little bit wet on it on the first run, and it was heavenly. It was so heavenly. And there we go. So out of all the elements on the ride, those are the two I can pick out: the 0G roll after under the wing of the aeroplane, and the helix around the fire truck with the water spray effects when it's on. And actually, to be fair, there's also a fire section as well. Of course, when I did the Swarm, it was updated from the year it opened with the new board, so I say the billboard. They had a competition to design a billboard, and the winner sort of had a really good one, like take a trip to Paradise. I think it was Paradise Airways, and it was like an airline poster, but sort of destroyed. It looked fantastic. I think the other side was some kind of advertising or something, like a fake advertisement that's sort of been destroyed. But the billboard looked like it was being destroyed. So again, that provided an extra near miss element. So now I'm going to rate it out of 10. So first of all, for queue line and station atmosphere. Now the station was themed around a church that had its roof ripped off, and it looked like just the structure was surviving. It looked like the Swarm was getting ready to swoop in and take people from in the church. Which way the station? So the station is like in the church that's had its roof taken off. So it's like the Swarm's got you, and it's about to rise up out of the church underneath the station control box, which looks like a police van, which looked so cool. So for station and queue line atmosphere and experience, out of 10, I'm going to give that a good 7.5. I think a couple more theming elements here and there, and it would have been alright. Layout, I'm going to give that a good 8 out of 10, because I don't think they could have done any better. Maybe smoothing it out on a couple of elements. I think the high helix sort of after the 0G roll, the first helix, could have been made a lot smoother, because it felt like I was being dragged, literally forced right into that helix. So maybe could have made that a bit smoother, but there and then, not much they could do about that. Near miss elements and theming around the ride, I'm going to give that 9.5 out of 10. Just a little smidgen of advice: make sure all the effects, including the fire, are working throughout its time. If you can't fix it, don't worry. If you haven't fixed the fire for a while, don't use it. Don't bring it back unless it's going to be working for at least most of the season, including Fright Nights. Especially Fright Nights and the summer events, if they're doing Love Island Lates again this year. Fix those fire effects and get it sorted. But in terms of theming and effects, when it's all working, it's second to absolute none. 9 out of 10 for theming around the ride, and near miss elements as well. The near miss elements really gave me a scare moment, kind of like being in a scare mode. It's like a jump scare, like, oh, I almost hit my head on that wing of an aeroplane, and oh, I almost hit my leg on that fire truck. Overall, I'm going to be giving this ride 8.5 out of 10. It's my second coaster. I've got two coasters joint first: Wicker Man and Nemesis, always. And then Swarm is just behind them in second, because I think Nemesis has got that heritage, that history, and Wicker Man's just an amazing ride. It just took it for me over Nemesis and Swarm. So, there we go. So that's my review of the Swarm at Thorpe Park. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss any video. Thank you very much. My name is Coaster Chall. Keep living the coast life, dudes, and I will see you guys in the next video soon. Take care. Have an awesome day, my friends.